So the anime kicks off in this tiny-ass village. Inside this modest little house, we meet our guy, Arel. Just your average dude waiting for his awakening. His family's hyped like he's about to drop a mixtape, but Arel's there acting all chill, like he already knows the punchline. See, in this world, when you hit 10, you get assigned a class. It's basically fantasy puberty but with loot drops. Whole ceremony, church involved, the works. First kid gets warrior, next one mage, you know the drill. Then comes Arel's turn, and the crowd's ready to witness greatness, cause his mom's Farah, the princess of the sword, and his dad's Leon, the goddamn sorcerer king. So the priest does his little hocus pocus thing, and bam, results come in. Arel's got nothing, zero, nada, no class. Homie didn't even qualify for unemployed. The priest like, that is your class. Bro, imagine telling the kid his life's purpose is literally to not have one. Everybody's confused. A few days later, my man Arel's still out there training. His parents tell him to chill. Since he was little, his mom's been training him with a sword, which sounds wholesome until you realize this woman could probably bisect a mountain. Not having a class just means he has to make up for it with sheer violence and repetition. One day, he goes to the training field and bumps into two discount swordsmen showing off their moves like they're auditioning for background NPC roles. They find out he's classless and start clowning on him. Arel just says he's there to train. They flex their skills a bit and Arel's like, cool tricks, want a 1v1? Before they accept, one asks if he's got divine protection, basically fantasy insurance that prevents instant death. Arel nods, says everyone's born with it, but it runs out if you get your ass beat too hard. Hey, start fighting. And holy hell, despite his no-class status, Arel moves surprisingly well. He studies their crappy coordination, parries one, trips the other, and suddenly both of them are eating dirt. They whine about it being a dirty move, and I'm like, bro, this ain't chess. You lost. Deal with it. Then this red-haired hothead shows up. He scolds them for crying like little girls in a sword fight, then looks at Arel like he just found his next ego victim. He warns him not to get cocky and says he'll show him what a real swordsman looks like. Turns out this guy's the son of Captain Evans, a master swordsman who used to tag along with Arel's mom on demon hunts. Apparently, this kid's tired of people comparing his dad to Farah, so he wants to beat Arel to prove his family isn't mid-tier. Arel just smirks and says his mom's the strongest in town and he's not planning to lose. The redhead says he trains just as hard and doesn't feed his ego. They start dueling. Arel quickly realizes the guy's actually good. Fast, angry, predictable. Redhead swings wild cause he's pissed, and Arel waits for that perfect counter moment. But suddenly, the dude whips out a double slash. Arel blocks the first, eats the second, and goes flying. Stunned, he's like, how the hell you do that? And the dude's like, anyone can learn it. Then he admits Arel's got guts. Next morning, Arel wakes up cause his sister's threatening to kiss him if he doesn't get up. Which, yeah, great motivation and a terrible family dynamic. He eats breakfast, tells everyone he's off to train again. His sister snitches to their parents saying he hasn't stopped training since that fight. Sunrise to sundown, no breaks. Mom just sips her tea like, yeah, I know my boy. But when the girl keeps worrying, she drags her to a storage room, opens a chest, and it's filled with broken swords. Every single one destroyed by Arel's relentless training. Meanwhile, Arel's in the forest going full Rocky montage mode. He's been at it so long, he actually manages to pull off the double slash. He's feeling all proud and shit when suddenly, bam, Goblin sneaks up from behind. But Arel's reflexes are on point. He tries out his new move, slices the little bastard clean, and feels like a total badass for about 2 seconds, until he hears a massive roar echoing through the woods. Now, if this were any other dude, he'd sprint back to town screaming for help. But nah, Arel hears a kid screaming instead and runs toward the noise. He hides behind a tree, peeks out, and holy hell, it's the same redhead guy from before bleeding out while facing off against a massive goblin. Without thinking twice, Arel jumps in, hits that shiny double slash, and turns the goblin into forest confetti. The redhead's shocked, then even more shocked when he sees who saved his ass. Arel, barely standing, gives the guy one of his own potions. The redhead gulps it down, recovers instantly, and just stares like, how the hell did you kill that thing? Arel's like, double slash. And the redhead's like, bullshit, that move takes skill. Only trained fighters with special abilities can do that. Arel shrugs and says, yeah, that's true. So I just practiced until my arm stopped working. Man basically learned a pro-level skill out of pure spite. Then Arel adds that he's been thinking about the redhead almost every day, in a totally non-sus way, because he hates losing. He wanted a rematch so bad, he trained until he broke half the trees in the forest. The redhead, hearing that, smiles and goes, well then, let's settle it here. Arel's like, you sure? I did just save your ass. And the guy's like, exactly why I owe you a fight. They start brawling again, but then bam, a third slash comes out of nowhere. The guy's like, the hell was that? And Arel's grinning saying, that's the third slash. Not a special skill, not a blessing, just me being better. Redhead's jaw drops. Arel asks if he wants to go again, and of course, the redhead's like, hell yeah, I don't do second place. They clash once more, and when the dust settles, the redhead's flat on his back again. The redhead's pissed. Arel just walks away. A few days later, while everyone's chilling, Farah tells Leon that Evans's kid left for a city called Brescia. Arel's like, what's that? And his mom explains it's the city of swords, where every day is basically a festival for maniacs with blades. She even says she lived there back in her youth, swinging her sword daily. Arel's eyes light up, thinking it might be the perfect place to get even stronger, even without a class. Fast forward 5 years later, we're in a carriage heading toward Brescia. Some veteran adventurers are along for the ride. They're geeking out about going to the City of Swords when the driver suddenly yells that the road's blocked by monsters. Great timing. Orcs appear, everyone panics. The experienced adventurers? Yeah, they dip. They're not risking their lives for anyone. Heroism ain't in a paycheck. Then this hooded figure steps out of the carriage. Surprise? It's Arel. Draws his blade and dives in like it's Tuesday. The driver's just standing there like, holy shit, this kid's cracked. Then he realizes Arel's using the Dancer Swords, a supreme class technique that only one person in history ever mastered, the Princess of the Sword. And, plot twist, that move's supposed to be exclusive to women. Arel finishes the fight. Every monster dead, the barbarian dude finally asks, bro, what class are you? Arel just says, none, and they all lose their damn minds. So our boy Arel finally makes it to Brescia. A city so full of swordsmen is basically a walking testosterone contest. You sneeze here, and 10 guys with great swords ask if it was a duel invite. The carriage driver tells him, yo kid, you should join a guild. That's how people make a living here. Then he adds, but don't go joining random-ass guilds. Some of them are sketchier than Craigslist hookups. Arel starts walking through the city, checking out a bunch of guilds, yelling at passers-by like used car salesmen. Suddenly, this blonde chick pops up and tries to talk to him, but my dude sidesteps like she's a tax collector. She giggles all flirty and goes, never seen you around before. You looking for a guild? Then she whips out a damn contract like she's about to scam him into a mobile game subscription. Arel's like, nah, only desperate-ass guilds take newbies like me. She gasps, all fake offended. Excuse me, my guild's actually famous. When Arel doesn't bite, she pulls out the big guns. She's like, if you join, I'll spend a whole day on a date with you. And my man deadpans, sorry, I don't date girls built like cutting boards. Jesus, Arel, straight to the jugular. Then he asks which guild's the strongest. The blonde, trying to keep her ego from flatlining, huffs and says, that'd be Black Sword. They've got 8 A-rank swordsmen. She even points him the way, so he goes, right? Shows up to Black Sword's fancy-ass building. The guard stops him and goes, you need to take a test to join. Inside, the receptionist looks at him and asks what class he's got. Arel says, none. Receptionist? Then get the fuck out. Everyone in the lobby starts whispering like a bunch of gossiping moms. No guild will take a classless loser. Then, right as he's about to leave, Blondie pops up again like a damn side quest you can't skip. She mocks him for not getting in anywhere and goes, "Why not join my guild?" Arel just gets up and leaves. No words, cold-blooded. She runs after him though, desperate as hell, saying her guild might get shut down if she can't find new members. She even drops to her knees begging. He turns around and she realizes he's already gone, but she doesn't give up. Oh no. Blondie tracks him down again. She points ahead and says, "That's my base." Arel looks up and sees a massive-ass building, which is weird because if they're begging random strangers to join, things clearly went downhill fast. She admits it too, says the guild used to be one of the strongest, but now it's basically running on nostalgia and debt. Then she gets this dramatic look in her eyes and goes, "As long as the King of Two Swords leads us, Dragonfang will never die." And that's when Arel's brain connects the dots. That's his mom's old guild. They walk in and she introduces him to her dad. The dude's sitting there drunk off his ass, nursing a bottle like it's his last friend in the world. Arel looks at him and goes, "So that's the King of Two Swords?" Yikes. The man squints at him and says, "Kid, do yourself a favor and leave. This guild's already dead." The blonde looks down, quietly telling Arel that her father used to be one of the top 2 swordsmen in all of Bregia, until he lost an arm. After that, well, the bottle became his new blade. He says he could try joining another guild, but none would take him anyway. Lilia checks the document and freezes. There's no class written. Now she goes full psycho mode, grabs a sword, gives him that smile before the stabbing face, and says if he wants to stay alive, he better cancel that contract right now. Then, just as she's about to lose it, a redhead walks in, Reiner. She's all calm, like, what the hell's going on here? The name Arrel hits her brain like a thrown brick. Wait, that Arrel? She steps closer, sees his face, and yeah, that's him. She blushes, trying to act cool, and says, "We're from the same village. We used to train together." Arel squints. Don't remember training with any girl that gorgeous. Smooth. Arel adds, "Though I do remember sparring with a kid who had hair kinda like yours. Evans' son or something." Reiner tilts her head. Evans didn't have a son. He had me. Then Reiner smirks and says, "Since we're reunited, how about a rematch? I've gotten way stronger since back then." And Arel, being the guy who can't say no to pain, accepts instantly. Cut to the training field. Reiner charges in. Her stance, her form, everything sharp as hell. She swings, same move she used years ago. She laughs, says, "I told you, I'm not that weak girl anymore. My blade's heavier, my strength's doubled." The fight gets brutal. Sparks, dust, everything shaken. Arel realizes he's not gonna win by doing the same old shit. She swings her blade, hits dead on, except she doesn't, because the bastard she hit, just an after image. My man's behind her already. Giving her a knockout hit so clean is basically disrespectful. Reiner stunned. She's like, wait, how the hell did a classless dude just pull off a supreme sword technique? And Arel, chill as a monk on meds, goes, "I just trained hard and got fast." Then Reiner flexes, all serious. She starts talking about how power swordsmen have insane endurance, that little hits won't even scratch her. And Arel's like, cool story, before pulling out a move his mom taught him, acquired counterattack. Reiner can't believe it. She's been training her ass off for 5 damn years just to get clapped again. She stands up, all red-eyed and trying to act tough. "I'm not crying." She runs off, muttering about how life's unfair. Arel turns to Lilia and goes, "Okay, so what's the deal with this broke-ass guild?" And Lilia, looking like she's about to confess a crime, whispers the number of their debt. Then she adds, "There's a guild competition coming up in a week, but the catch? They need at least 5 members to join, and they've only got 3. So yeah, they were desperate enough to recruit the no-class wonder. Arel's like, wait, Reiner's still here despite all that? And Lilia explains that Reiner got rejected by every guild in town, but when her dad took her in, she swore loyalty. Pretty noble stuff. Lilia, looking all nervous, mentions again that they'll be fighting full 5-man teams. Arel just shrugs. Good. The tougher the fight, the faster I'll improve. As they talk, the guild master's in the shadows watching them. Next morning, Arel wakes up and realizes Reiner's still mentally stuck on that L she took yesterday. Meanwhile, Lilia walks in like, "Alright losers, family meeting." Turns out, Dragonfang's down to just 3 active members, which is literally the minimum for team battles. So yeah, guess who's competing this weekend? Yup, these 3, the bare minimum dream team. Lilia starts explaining how sword ranks work and says Arel's gotta be rank B now after beating Reiner. Reiner looks like she wants to throw hands again, but Arel's too busy worrying about her like, "You good?" And she's like, "We're not friends, dumbass." To which Arel goes, "Cool, let's train anyway." Then he asks her to hit him with her sword's sheath. Not even the blade, the sheath. Reiner's all embarrassed like, "Bro, this is kinda kinky." And he's like, "Nah, chill, I just want to simulate tenacity." Reiner calls him an idiot, valid, and says that skill can't be learned. It's a divine gift. Then she realizes this idiot somehow learned twin blade slice and shadow skill. So she shrugs and goes, "Fine, you freak, let's do it." She hands him her sword, which weighs like 5 times a normal one. Dude picks it up like it's a butter knife. Reiner's like, "What the actual fuck?" And that's how their training begins. Then Lilia barges in, huffing like she just ran a marathon, yelling that she found out who they're fighting. The Black Blade Guild. Yeah, the #1 guild in the whole damn city. They have to get stronger fast. Meanwhile, Arel's on the floor, unconscious, cause he's been getting bitch slapped by Reiner for an hour straight. Fast forward, it's tournament day. The crowd's hyped, everyone's placing bets. Nobody's betting on Dragonfang cause everyone knows they suck. Odds are 20-1. But Lilia, she sees opportunity. She's like, "If we bet on ourselves and win, we're getting rich, baby." Then George shows up, the big boss of Black Blade. He mocks Lilia for accepting a warrior with no class, says her guild's a sad joke now. Also admits he rigged the match schedule so they'd fight today. Easy money, easy win. The tournament's about to start, and Arel's bouncing like a kid at Disneyland. Lilia tells him to chill the fuck out because if they lose, Dragonfang's getting deleted from existence. First fight's Arel's. The crowd's already roasting him. No class? Dude's gonna die in 1 hit. Bell rings. Arel gets skewered instantly, or so it looks. Turns out he's using shadow skill. He juices opponent, disappears, reappears, and one-shots a rank A. The crowd loses their collective minds. Then he wipes the floor with the rest. Every damn fight, he's picking up new moves just by watching. People start calling bullshit. Ain't no way this guy's fighting like that without class. The refs check his ID card and, yup, he's legit, no class. By the end, everyone's looking at Arel like he's God reincarnated in a broke man's body. Even Lilia can't believe her eyes. She's there thinking, "Damn, I should have bet my dad's sword." Reiner tells her to chill the hell out because they haven't actually won the whole tournament yet. But Lilia, being the walking definition of impulsive, cuts her off like, "Yeah, whatever, maybe I'll just marry him. Keeps the guild alive, makes us rich, win-win." Anyway, it's time for Arel's final fight against some guy named Masamune. And bro, the moment he steps in the ring, you can tell this ain't like the rest. Both of them know it. Whoever moves first wins. 1 swing, that's it. Masamune goes in fast, blade flashing, about to slice Arel's head clean off. But Arel? This man just vanishes. Reappears right behind Masamune, and before anyone can blink, match over. The crowd's dead silent. Then reality hits. Everyone who bet against him just lost their life savings. Lilia's glowing like she just hit the jackpot, but Arel sidesteps that affection. But she lets it slide. Can't stay mad when your broke-ass guild just turned filthy rich overnight. Reiner almost hugs him too, but stops herself. For a split second, she realizes she actually cares. Meanwhile, the Black Blade leader George is in the corner stewing, already plotting how to wreck Arel for humiliating him in front of the entire damn city. So yeah, that night, our heroes throw this massive feast, cause apparently kicking ass in a tournament means you get to drown in booze. Lilia's already drunk off her ass after like 2 cups, and she keeps harassing RL saying he should marry her. Dude's like, nah, I'd rather marry Reiner first. And Reiner, poor girl, just freezes. Whole face goes red. She stands up all flustered like, if you're gonna lie, at least make it sound believable. And RL just says, who said I was lying? Reiner's trying to act all cool, saying she's only good with a sword, not with feelings. Says people used to mistake her for a guy because of her short hair. Then she goes, I don't have any feminine charm. No one's gonna fall for me, I just want to train. Meanwhile, Lilia takes that as her cue to start touching RL's leg. And even then, this man just looks her dead in the eyes and says he still prefers Reiner. Next morning, RL and Reiner are out training. Out of nowhere, Lilia's drunk-ass dad shows up. Dude can't believe the guild actually survived the tournament. Instead of saying good job, he's like, RL's too strong. He's gonna leave you losers for a better group soon. RL's like, dude, maybe stop crying into your bottle and pick up a sword again. And that's when Daddy Dearest loses it, starts yelling about how he used to be the king of dual blades before he lost the arm. Now he's basically just the king of self-pity. He storms off all mad. The crew figures maybe RL's words will knock some sense into the guy. Lilia, on the other hand, decides, you know what'll fix this emotional trauma? A dungeon crawl. But apparently, someone's been watching them through magic. Turns out it's George and his bunch of goons planning to cause a little accident in that same dungeon. Anyway, next morning, RL's still sleeping like a rock when Lilia sneaks in to try and kiss him. Real classy. But before she can do it, he grabs her head, not gently either, and tells her to stop acting like a damn pervert. Then he heads to Reiner's room and she's still asleep too. Anyway, they all regroup and head to the city to find a teleport to the dungeon. Reiner and RL are wrecking enemies left and right. Meanwhile, Lilia's over there doing jack shit, probably pretending to analyze the battlefield or some crap. RL finally snaps and asks, what the hell even is your class? And she's like, I'm a swordswoman. To him, she's just dead weight at this point. Suddenly, they run into this half-dead guy crawling toward them, covered in blood. He's all, there's a trap ahead, my group's still inside, help them. And what does Lilia do? She tries to negotiate payment before lifting a finger. Girl sees a dying man and goes, yeah, we can help you, but how much you got? But the guy, desperate as hell, pays up. And just like that, the heroes march into hell with their pockets a little heavier. RL's already suspicious because everything looks too easy. So they keep walking with this half-dead dude they just met, when suddenly the floor lights up like a rave in hell. Boom, teleportation circle. Everyone gets warped into another room, including the half-dead guy, who immediately starts panicking like, wait, I wasn't supposed to be teleported too. And then this absolute unit of a knight appears. We're talking shiny armor, mythic tier aura. The bloodied guy realizes they just got dumped into the final level of the dungeon. The knight immediately charges at RL, and he, instead of panicking like a normal human, just smirks and goes, nice, good training. Then the knight busts out this thing called Divine Presence, which basically crushes you with pure pressure until your bones forget what oxygen feels like. Everyone else feels like they're being flattened by a truck, but RL? Nah. Turns out he trained for this with his mom. One single thrust, one hit, boom, the knight drops like a sack of shit. After a quick nap, they finally leave the dungeon alive. Meanwhile, cut to Daddy Lilia, yeah, the drunk ex-warrior, downing shots at his local bar, like always. Dude hears some clowns bragging about how they lured some idiots into a teleport trap, real classy. And get this, they even sold out one of their own teammates to make it work. Bro, they're laughing about it like it's some big win. So he stands up, trying to piece his pride together, and demands they tell him everything. But before shit hits the fan, who shows up? George. Yup, smug bastard himself. He strolls in, all calm and smug, and straight up admits he knows Lilia fell into the trap. Says one of his men saw it all happen. Lilia's dad goes ballistic, calls George a bastard right to his face. But before anyone starts throwing chairs, RL and his crew walk in. George's face? Priceless. Lilia, now sober and done with everyone's bullshit, tells George that the wounded guy they found confessed everything. Turns out George set up the trap. And George just shrugs and goes, "Well, technically, I can't be blamed. It was all inside the dungeon, right? Every adventurer is responsible for their own safety." Arel actually says George has a point. Like, bro, read the room. But whatever, George walks off thinking he just got away with it. Cut to his hideout later where he's having a full-blown meltdown, smashing shit, screaming about how he's tired of living in someone else's shadow. He's ranting about how he's gonna have the best damn guild in the world. Then suddenly, from the darkness behind him, this eerie-ass voice echoes. A cursed sword, whispering like a demon. "I heard your voice, and I'll grant your wish." Lilia's already stressed out, cause guess what? She got matched in the same damn block as Arel. She's freaking out, and Arel's over there like, "Relax, you're not even making it to the main event." Lilia gets pissed, like full I'm about to throw hands pissed, but Arel's too busy noticing Reiner's in another block to even care. Reiner swears she's gonna give it her all this year, and Arel's like, "Cool, maybe that way your dad'll actually have something nice to brag about for once." Before they dip, her dad, the guildmaster, tells her to be careful cause George been acting sus lately. She tells him she'll be fine, all smiles and sunshine. But then, dude pulls Arel aside like, "Listen man, I'm done being a useless drunk. I'm gonna be a real dad now." Tournament day. Lilia steps into the ring and immediately gets folded, like she didn't even get time to blink. Arel pats her on the shoulder in his awkward, "you tried" kind of way, and she's like, "Whatever, but your next opponent's a magic swordsman chick. She's crazy strong." The match starts. Arel's dodging spells, clearly impressed, but also thinking, "Girl, your sword form sucks." One clean slash later, she's down. Crowd goes nuts. Arel's thinking maybe he should learn magic too. You know, just casually add another god tier skill to the list. He makes it to the main bracket, and that's when shit gets real. Reiner looks nervous, shaking even. She says not knowing her opponent makes it impossible to plan. Arel laughs like, "Scared you'll have to fight me?" Then the announcer drops the bomb. First match, reigning champ George versus Arel. Oh boy. George walks in looking like he just came straight out of hell, full on demon form. Lilia's dad freaks out from the stands, yelling, "Stay back, he's got the cursed sword." And yup, he's right. This demon is Dergelda, and he's here to cause biblical level chaos. He seals the whole damn Coliseum like nobody's leaving this party. Crowd loses their shit. Arel, cool as ice. He stares this monster down. Dergelda starts talking crap, but Arel's already blitzing around at mock Jesus speeds. The demon's like, "Wait, what the hell? Dude can't even keep up." Then, wham! One brutal strike sends the demon crashing into the floor. Crowd screaming, people are crying. One guy probably pissed himself. But of course, demons don't die easy. Dergelda starts doing the creepy crawl possession thing, and before anyone can stop him, he jumps into Lilia's dad's body. Arel's like, "Damn it, should have figured the sword was his meat suit." He tightens his grip, ready to end it again, but the demon smirks. "Go ahead, swing, you'll kill her." Using Lilia as a hostage. Arel just scoffs. If you're gonna take a hostage, at least pick someone who matters. But then, Lilia's dad fights back. You could see it in his eyes. He sees Arel's strength, remembers Lilia, and finally grows a spine. He wrestles with the demon inside and throws the cursed sword straight at Arel. The kid doesn't even flinch. One clean swing, sword shatters, curse breaks. Then the crowd explodes. The kingdom's safe. Lilia's dad is already back at it, training newbies at the guild like nothing happened. Bro's out here missing an arm but still swinging that sword like it's 20 years ago. Meanwhile, Lilia's gossiping with one of the rookies like, "Yeah, Arel and Reiner ditched the guild." Turns out Arel went back to his hometown. His mom sees him and instantly knows the boy's leveled up. She's happy, proud even, cause he won the Sword God Cup, same as her back in the day. But she ain't soft about it either. Tells him, congrats, but don't get cocky, you're still green. So they decide to spar. Next thing you know, the whole damn village is shaken from their fight. Meanwhile, Rainer's trying to find Arel. She knocks on his door and his little sister opens like, oh, you're looking for my brother? Yeah, he's not into cows like you. Girl didn't even blink. Arel shows up mid-burn like, yo, what's going on? Everyone heads inside for tea. So Rainer's sitting there all serious, and Arel's mom takes one look at her and goes, oh, so you're his girlfriend, huh? Rainer almost spits her tea across the room. I'm not here for that. She's pissed, wants answers. Why'd you leave the guild without saying a damn thing? He explains he's got nothing left to learn there, so he dipped to move forward. But then she's like, well, I didn't just come to yell at you. I came to ask your mom, Farah the sword god, to take me as a disciple. Farah just stares like, another one? Sure, why not? I'll start her on lettuce. Rainer's told her first lesson is to slice a lettuce clean in half. Sounds easy, right? Yeah, she goes full berserker mode and atomizes the damn thing. Kitchen looks like a salad grenade went off. Farah's standing there like, good job, but now we start with house chores. Rainer's like, what? Farah explains that true warrior must have harmony between mind, body, and skill. Meanwhile, back with Arel and his dad. Arel's like, teach me magic. The old man explains not everyone can use magic. You need mana reserves and focus. But Arel insists he's got something inside him. Says once Lilia gave him a weird potion that made him feel weird inside. His dad's like, huh, you might actually be right. So he agrees to teach him, tells him to imagine the mana condensing in his palm. Arel focuses and holy shit, it works. Dude actually has mana. Then immediately passes out. His dad looks at him, proud as hell. That's my boy. Finally broke physics through sheer stubbornness. When Arel wakes up, he's fired up again. Goes into town, buys a bunch of mana potions, and starts training like a mana-addicted wizard. After some time, his dad gives him a magiscript, basically a magic cheat sheet. Says, if you want to be more than a swordsman, you'll have to learn spells from this. Problem is, since Arel's got no class, he has to manually recite each spell in his head. So his dad drops the final boss line. If you really want to get good, go study at the Magic Academy in the capital. Arel just nods, determination in his eyes. He's not just a swordsman anymore. He's on his way to becoming a damn sorcerer. It's been 3 years, and out of nowhere, Arel's little sister tells everyone he left a note saying he's heading to the City of Magic. Right now, he's on a carriage with a bunch of other kids who want to become mages. Everyone's kind of curious about him, mostly because he's way older than the rest. They're all thinking it's kind of late for him to start magic school. Before leaving, his dad explained that there are 6 types of magic: red, blue, green, yellow, white, and black. Arel tells the group he doesn't have any class, like at all, meaning he's got no specialty in magic whatsoever. The 3 kids look at him like he's lost his mind for even trying to join a magic academy without a class. But Arel doesn't really care. If anything, it just feels like deja vu. Then, out of nowhere, this loud-ass roar shakes the place, and the horses just drop, completely passed out. Arel says it might be a male troll king, which freaks everyone out even more. The group starts trying to come up with a plan to fight it, and then boom, the monster bursts out of the bushes. It's huge. But before anyone can react, that thing gets smacked and launched halfway across the forest by another monster that's even bigger. Now the kids are losing their minds, thinking this is the end. Kaido tries to keep it together, jumps off the carriage, and decides to face it head on, even if it costs him his life. But yeah, that doesn't go great. He runs out of mana after one attack, totally drained. Then, just when things look bad, the monster bursts into flames and burns to ashes instantly. That was Arel's doing. The girls freak out. They say he just used some top-tier magic, like supreme level stuff. And he doesn't stop there. He even uses magic to revive the horses and wake them up again. Kaido gets down on one knee, apologizing for doubting him earlier, and says from now on, he'll call Arel his master. Everyone's convinced Arel's no-class thing is fake, but even when he swears he doesn't have one, nobody believes him. After a long trip, they finally reach the City of Magic, Arsbel. Apparently, the city has a bunch of different schools depending on your magic type, so Arel figures his would be the School of Red Magic since he uses fire magic. To get in, everyone's got to take an entrance exam, so they split up. Kaido and Arel stick together since they both use fire magic. Once Arel signs up, the test starts. The teacher asks everyone to cast Fireball. Then it's this blonde guy's turn, apparently some prodigy or something. Everyone's whispering that he's an advanced mage because his magic looks way stronger than anyone else's. But Kaido's like, nah, my master's on another level. The blonde kid brags his fire can melt metal, but Arel's like, yeah, I don't think so. And sure enough, when they look at the dummy, it barely has a scratch. The teacher explains that the dummy was made by the Yellow Magic School, so it's not exactly easy to melt with just fire. Then it's Arel's turn. He channels all his power into this thin line of flame, super focused. Everyone thinks he failed since they can't see anything happening. But suddenly, the dummy just melts, completely smooth, no explosion or anything. The blonde kid's like, that's impossible with beginner magic. And Arel just shrugs and says, yeah, that's because I made that technique myself. After that, he says he's got to move on to the next test. He goes to the Blue Magic School, uses ice magic to destroy their dummy too. Then to the Green School, where he whips up a mini tornado and passes again. Easy. Then he clears the Yellow and White schools just like that. Now the only one left is the Black Magic School, but that place is a total mess. Out of nowhere, a woman runs up to him begging for help. She's looking for someone named Gooey. Turns out, Gooey's actually this weird little magical chimera she created and accidentally locked inside a box. Then a skeleton taps Arel on the shoulder, and out of pure instinct, he chops his head clean off. The skeleton's like, wow, rude, and just picks her head back up like nothing happened. She introduces herself as Latalia and tells him there's no entrance exam for this school, nobody ever applies to learn black magic anyway, so basically everyone's welcome. Later, the kids finally find Arel again, super confused, because they've seen him ace every single exam. Arel tells them he's not choosing one school, he's joining all 6. The kids just stare at him like, bro, you've lost it. The first class Arel takes is at the Red Magic School. That's where he runs into Royce again. Yeah, that same cocky dude from the exams before. Royce is still convinced that Arel's some high-ranking mage, and that's the only reason he lost to him. But Arel's like, nah man, I'm not even a mage. Royce just stares at him like, what the hell are you talking about? So he goes and asks the teacher what kind of mage Arel actually is. And when he finds out Arel's a no class, he straight up loses it. Dude can't wrap his head around the fact that someone with no class totally wiped the floor with him. Once class starts, most students are struggling to keep up. But for Arel, it's all super basic, like boring level basic. While everyone else is sweating their asses off trying to get their spells right, Arel's already figuring out better ways to cast magic. He starts messing around, rearranging spells, and somehow ends up creating way stronger versions of them. Then he moves on to the Green Magic School for his first flying class. He's never tried flying before. His dad's scared of heights, so they never practiced it at home. His classmates give it a go, floating around all wobbly like drunk pigeons, and Arel's like, okay, my turn. Except instead of gently floating, he ends up summoning a freaking tornado that shoots him into the damn sky. He has no clue how to land, so he just falls from way up there, and somehow doesn't even get hurt. Later, one of the students mentions there's a flying competition in 2 months, like a race where mages have to finish a whole circuit. Arel gets all excited and says he'll join, but the guy just laughs at him, saying it's impossible since it takes at least 6 months to learn proper flying. A few days later, his classmates catch him training at night. There were rumors going around about a ghost haunting the grounds, but surprise, it was just Arel, flying around like a pro. He tells them he's been practicing every single night, even while he sleeps, because he thinks sleeping is just a waste of time. Since he's already awake, he heads over to the Black Magic School to read some books in the library. The next day in class, while the teacher's writing on the board, Arel suddenly stops him to correct something. The teacher's actually impressed by how much he knows. Arel explains to his classmates that he's been shortening his spells so he can cast them faster. The teacher's intrigued and asks him to show how it works. So Arel goes up, writes on the board, and breaks down how he simplifies magic formulas. The teacher admits it might actually work, but warns that one tiny mistake could cause an explosion. Arel just shrugs and goes, "I'm good, I got divine protection anyway." The teacher's totally blown away by how sharp this kid is and tells him he should take the advancement exam to move up to second year. Royce overhears that and immediately demands to take it too. So they both get sent to the training field where the instructor explains they'll have to defeat whatever monster comes out of the gate if they want to pass. Royce goes first. A huge-ass minotaur comes charging at him. He tries attacking but misses every damn hit. The more he panics, the worse he does. And right when it looks like he's gonna get smashed, the minotaur disappears, meaning he totally failed. Then it's Arel's turn, but his minotaur's even bigger and darker than Royce's. Just then, a girl comes running in yelling that there's been a mistake. That's a higher level minotaur, way stronger than the one Royce got. The teacher tries to stop the test, but Arel doesn't even flinch. He casts a spell that shoots a bunch of fire spears, but the monster dodges them. The teacher's screaming for him to run, but Arel's already focused. Suddenly, the spears flip around mid-air and slam into the minotaur's back, hitting dead on. One final blast, and boom, the things turn to ashes. The teacher's completely speechless. That kind of monster is supposed to take a whole team of elite students to bring down. Yet Arel, a dude with no class, just did it solo. By the end, the teacher tells him that starting tomorrow, he'll officially be in the second-year classes. Reiner's still training on her own back at Arel's place. Meanwhile, Arel's out here causing a whole damn scene at the Blue Magic School. He straight up tells the teacher he's done with her boring, useless classes that don't even match his real magic level. The teacher, Hangul, who's trying to become some top-tier supreme archmage, thinks Arel's being a rude little shit, so she decides to test if he's actually as good as he claims. Hangul breaks down the duel rules: no physical attacks, only draining the opponent's magic shield. If Arel manages to beat her, she'll recommend him for the level-up exam, even though she's convinced there's no frickin' way he'll win. The fight starts fast. Hangul traps Arel in an ice spell instantly. She's already acting like she won, but Arel busts out an ice shield just in time and escapes. Then he fires back with ice blades. At first, Hangul laughs it off because it looks like some baby-level spell. But then Arel starts multiplying those blades like crazy. She counters by making more of her own, and the whole thing turns into a full-on ice storm. Arel realizes this won't be easy, so he cranks things up and summons like 100 more blades. Hangul copies him, but Arel rearranges all his blades around her, shifting their positions mid-air. With no real way to counter it, Hangul puts up her ice shield. She doesn't know Arel planned everything. Every hit from his blades actually makes her shield thicker and heavier, basically trapping her inside. Arel then summons a giant ice spear right above her. She can't move, can't block, and boom, Hangul loses just like that. She's so impressed she recommends him instantly, skipping the whole exam. With that done, Arel heads to the Green Magic School to level up again. But at the front desk, they tell him the only way is if the director himself recommends him, which is almost impossible because the guy's always busy. But Arel's friend jumps in with an idea. If he wins the flying race, the director will show up in person to give him a medal. And if Arel shows off enough skill, he might convince the director to level him up too. Before the race, this dude named Skyke walks up just to talk shit, even though Arel doesn't even remember his damn name. Arel doesn't care. He says he's trained hard and refuses to lose. The race is simple. One full lap around the whole city, passing through the main gate. When it starts, everyone blasts off at full speed. Arel goes slower at the beginning so he doesn't burn all his energy. Skyke's ego is through the roof because he thinks his technique is flawless. But Arel keeps up easily, maybe even better. Still, they're both behind Diona, a girl who won 3 races last year. She's shocked two newbies are catching up and speeds up even more. Skyke runs out of mana and basically gives up, but Arel still has juice left. He's close to his limit though, so he uses green magic to focus energy into his feet and compress the air, launching himself forward. The announcers say this move needs insane leg strength, something only top swordsmen usually have. Then comes a super sharp turn. At their speed, turning without slowing down is basically suicide. Hangul, watching from afar, thinks the only smart thing is to break, but Arel doesn't even think about it. At the last second, he uses green magic on his arms too, pushing against the air to pivot his whole body and take the turn perfectly without losing speed. He crosses the finish line first, winning a race he's only been practicing for 2 freaking months. Skyke drags himself to 3rd place and just faints from exhaustion. The director personally gives Arel the medal, and Arel immediately shoots his shot and asks him for a level up in the green magic school. The director agrees, and just like that, Arel's now ranked up in the red, blue, and green schools. Now he's dead set on pushing his magic even further.